did y'all go do one more? That's your wild card?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, see?
Yeah.
Well, we wanted to have something that was really going to keep you here and something that you all really wanted to know about, and you all wanted to know about LinkedIn. And so many of you may know Greg Taylor. If you do not, you hear me talk about Sir Link a lot. Well, there he is. And so even though I give you a little bit of an overview at Rochester Works, no one is as good at LinkedIn, in my opinion, than Greg. Greg comes to us with a wealth of experience, not only in this, but Greg is the founder of the August Group that I think you're all, it's our premier networking group for job seekers, and he also has a recruiting background. So he's someone that not only knows the tool, but he understands and knows where you are, where you're at, and what you need. So with further ado, there's Mr. Linkalot for you.
Thank you, Annie. You all stayed to the end of the day with great expectations, huh? Yikes. Let me ask first of all, how many of you are already on LinkedIn? Okay, good. How many of you are reluctant with LinkedIn? Let me ask, what makes you reluctant? Just to get us started. What makes you reluctant?
Putting my business out on the internet too much.
Putting your business out on the internet. Other concerns?
I felt I was not qualified to be on there. I felt like,
Oh. She said she's not qualified,
I wasn't
is what she thought. Not professional enough. Okay. Who else has got a reservation that they'd be willing to share?
There's way too many social networks out there.
There's way too many social networks out. Okay. Let me tell you a little bit about my background, where I'm from, what I do, how I came to where I am, so to give you a little context. I started out as a school teacher, way back, so that's why I'm in front of a crowd and talking to people. I enjoy this. This is natural for me to train people, to turn the lights on for you. I fell into computing. When I was in computing, I was a contractor. And I worked on site at Xerox for an agency. And Xerox kept changing their org charts. They have a department for org charts and acronyms, I swear, at Xerox. But I knew all of the names on the org charts, and if I didn't know somebody's name, I wanted to find out who they were. Half of the people at Xerox in information technology were contractors. And I tracked all of the contractors and all of their relationships. So I know who the person was that recruited them to the recruiting firm, who was the marketing person that hired them or sent them on an account, what account managers they worked for, what their history was as a contractor or consultant, used to work for this agency, then they moved to this agency, then they worked on this account over here. I knew all that stuff. I was a natural networker. I saw networks. So if you take a school teacher and you take a person who's a networker and then you create a product like LinkedIn, that's me. That's exactly who I am. What gets me up in the morning is being able to make an introduction for two people that I believe will have some synergy and mutual benefit. That's what gets me up. That's what I'm charged about. And if I can share with you the wisdoms and the insights that I've had, fast forwarding, I wound up going from being a programmer to a guy who was fascinated with relationships and how people were connected to becoming a recruiter and an account manager in the staffing business. So I helped IT people learn to work. Started the August Group, and after the dot-com bust, I couldn't place people in 2000, 2001 because there was no hiring. There were plenty of IT people. They all knew all about networking. How many people in here are network engineers? Network engineers all knew about networking. I'm going to tease you guys a little bit. Networking simple. You put a cable in the back of this computer and that computer. That is networking. You sit at your desk and you do Monster, and that's how you network to a job. So I started, we did not try to start the August Group. It just happened. Anybody not familiar with the August Group? Okay. The August Group is a professional networking organization, augustgroup.org, that has been meeting for over 10 years now. The very first meeting was January 1st, 2002. January 2nd, excuse me, 2002. Augustgroup.org, and you can talk to many people in the community. It helps people in job search, basically what it does. It's a support community for people in job search. helped thousands of people over 10 years. Tracy Ayala is the current leader. So, let's go into this. I've got 40 slides. I prepared this. I prepared this using some software called Prezi. P-R-E-Z-I. I would suggest it would be a great tool for you to tell your story. It's much like PowerPoint, but it's an online application. It's free. I've got a subscription which allows me to make my presentations private. If you send me an email, I will give you the link to this presentation because right now it still resides as private. So, a little bit more. So I've been a recruiter. I'm out of business as a recruiter. People are not paying me to find people. I used to be paid 20% of somebody's salary. If I placed somebody in a job and they were making $80,000, I would get 20% of that. I'd make $16,000 on a paycheck. Sounds pretty good, huh? Well, a very competitive industry, it's no longer 20%. It's 10 to 15%, so my paychecks got cut in half. People aren't hiring. That makes it harder. What replaced me? Did I go offshore? No. LinkedIn replaced me. Google replaced me. LinkedIn and Google are replacing job boards. Job boards are having to reinvent themselves to create income. So I'm a guy that knows, and the only way I made a living as a recruiter, I would screen my candidates. I would know exactly what my hiring manager wanted. It was not on the job description, by the way. 80% of the job descriptions I felt were inaccurate. Well, I learned they were inaccurate because the hiring manager didn't write them. That's not what they do. They don't like to write them. They don't do them. They don't do them well. So I had to find out what they wanted. Anyways, so I know basically how people get hired because I only got paid when somebody was hired. I had to choose people and prepare them for an interview. I was in the trenches of this whole thing. LinkedIn has replaced me as a recruiter. So I'm going to talk to you about LinkedIn and how you can use it for your advantage. 4 major topics here. The first is the profile. That's kind of your story. It's about what you know. A lot like your resume, but if you think it's a resume, that's limiting the potential of what LinkedIn can be. It can be audio, it can be video, it can be many, 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 many things. It should be dynamic and living. So it's the profile is what you know. The network is who you know. We've often heard it's not what you know, but who you know. Well, you got to have the two. All right? And LinkedIn does this better than any other social network. Talking in the back there about there's too many networks. The big 4, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and YouTube. And I suggest that while there are many, you really have to participate in all of those, pretty much. And over time, people will all adopt them. You'll be taught how to use them in schools and colleges. It'll become second nature to people. How do we use all these multimedia and social media? Think of LinkedIn as your 8 to 5 network. Those people you see during the 8 to 5 day. Facebook, they're your friends. They're the people you see evenings and weekends. Twitter's the people you should be meeting during the rest of the day and the rest of the world. You haven't yet met. I would think of Twitter to be a personal news network. Newspapers used to be big. They're all closing. They're suffering tremendously because the web is replacing communications. Do you remember the times when we used to be excited when we saw somebody's name in the paper? Because it was somebody we knew. I knew somebody in the news. Well, why did we spend all this time reading news about people we don't know? People that don't impact our lives. We get excited when we see somebody in the news that we know. Well, LinkedIn, Facebook, is the news of the people in your world. We often run into people we haven't seen in a long time. I haven't seen you in forever. What's up? If you're paying attention in LinkedIn, you know what's happening in the work world. If you pay attention in Facebook, you know what's going on in their social lives. So it's a personal news network. Twitter is that and then some. Let me go quicker. I've got a lot of slides. I probably shouldn't digress. I'm a master of digression, but we'll run real fast here. So I'm going to talk about the profile. I'm going to talk about the network. I'm also going to talk about the 2 major functions within LinkedIn. One is it's a phenomenal search tool. That's probably what it excels at best. And the second thing I'm going to talk to you about is how you can share using LinkedIn. Multiple opportunities to share. So I can pace through this real quickly. Got to talk there we go. The profile. The profile. Who you are, what you do, and where you belong. In a nutshell, that's what the profile is. Who you are, what you do, and where you belong. So who you are, that's your roles and job titles. What you do, it's your skills. It's your talents, your accomplishments, your achievements, any awards or honors or recognitions that you've had. Where you belong, the schools you've attended, not graduated from, but just attended even. The employers, past and present. The civic groups, the professional groups that you belong to. So who you are, what you do, and where you belong is the essence of what your profile is. Well, so why is this important? Why does your profile matter here? Well, the hiring dynamics have changed entirely. You can't rely. Many people used to rely on me as a recruiter and a headhunter. And they would try to have as many relationships with headhunters as they could. And they'd say, well, I've got my resume in with a lot of headhunters. We don't count. Recruiters don't count. We have no vested interest in your future. You're not paying us. The people we have to talk to are hiring managers. And they don't want to use recruiters any longer because we're real expensive. The internet is the tool. Now, it used to be I looked for people who were looking for work. So in a typical employment situation, we had unemployment between 3 and 5% over the years, over the long haul. You had some people who were working who were dissatisfied. So I would suggest that at any one point in time, only 10% of employees or the unemployed, 10% of the workforce, would be looking for work and interested in new opportunity. Does that make sense to you? The unemployed plus the people say, because changing work is inconvenient until you're thrust to it. So only 5 or 10% of the population is what you were competing with. Well, now our numbers are a lot different. They might say unemployment in the area is 7.8%, something like that. It might be 8% in the state. We're actually, and Rochesterians like to beat ourselves up. We think we're in the worst place in the world. We're in the best place in New York State for employment. New York State is one of the better states for employment. Most Rochesterians love to go to places like the Carolinas, where there's land of promise. The Carolinas are in the top 5 unemployment numbers in the U.S. The new place to go is to the Dakotas, where unemployment is 3 and 4%, where people are tripping over themselves. There's jobs all over the place. Anyways, what's happened now is you don't compete with the 7% unemployed, because you take the 7% unemployed, goose it up by the working worried, which is a lot more than 10% of employees who are now worried. Talk to a Kodak employee who's not worried today. Okay? Recruiters don't want to hire just from the small pool of people looking for work. If the people looking for work right now is the 7% unemployed and say another 25% of the workforce, which I think would be low, but if it was like 30% of the workforce, it's 3 times more difficult than it was 10%, right? Employers aren't looking at the unemployed pool. They don't discriminate against it. Some do. You've heard that. Some are discriminating against unemployed people. But what they really, really, really want is the best available employee. They don't care, really, if you're working or not working. They want to hire the best. So how big is that population that they're looking at? They look at the whole freaking workforce. Everybody's in play. Every working person comes under the microscope to hiring managers today because they have to hire the best talent. So you're not competing against 5 to 10% or 30%. You are competing against every working person. Feel more relieved now if I put you at ease? LinkedIn's irrelevant. I don't need LinkedIn. It's another social network. I don't want to bother. What's happened now is through technology, through Monster and Career Builder, you can sit all day at your computer and submit to jobs around the world. And you can try to go get a job that way and be discovered. But there's so much stuff coming in. A guy who's driving a truck, who's had a computer since he was 16, believes he could be a CIO because I work with computers when I get home. Everybody applies. It doesn't help them make hiring decisions. So what they do, they go hire sourcers. They can hire college students. They can hire anywhere. Anybody knows how to search the web, knows how to search Google. Anybody knows Boolean searches. Go into the web and find people in Google, find people in LinkedIn, and we'll go approach those people. So they're finding people on LinkedIn. Your LinkedIn profile, if you look yourself up, the first occurrence of you is probably going to be a LinkedIn profile. Does anybody notice that? Has anybody searched themselves and find out they come up first for their own name? And usually it's a LinkedIn reference. So you have to be found. If you want to ignore LinkedIn, you're saying, I don't want to be found for a potential job where I'm an excellent fit. Let somebody else have that. I'm not doing it. So the hiring dynamics have changed. There's unpublished jobs. Being found is essential, and LinkedIn is where you're going to be found. Some general guidelines. More is better. It's not a one-page thing. Be comprehensive. It's keyword rich. Here's a tip. You are finding job descriptions. Print them all. Circle the keywords. The keywords are not descriptors. High performing, results driven. That's all great verbiage, but nobody's looking on those achievement words. They're looking on analytics. They're looking on specific keyword terms, and you're going to find those keywords, and you're going to find them in the job descriptions that you have, that you're queuing up. You don't care where these jobs are, by the way. You want to go find ideal jobs just for identifying keywords that you want to pepper throughout your LinkedIn profile. The more often you use those keywords, the higher you're going to appear in the search results. Does this make sense? So go look across the web for jobs anywhere and everywhere on Monster, Indeed, etc., and just start compiling job descriptions to know which keywords have to be in your jobs. You have to have your profile tell a story that shares something about your personality. It should be written in your voice. Don't let somebody else write it for you. Someone else may coach you for it, but don't let them write it for you. It should be in your voice. It should share your personality. Completeness. How many people are aware of the completeness factor in the LinkedIn profile? Okay, it scores your profile off to the right and tells you how complete it is. If you don't have a college degree, you can never get to 100%. If you don't have enough jobs posted, you can't get to 100%. If you don't have enough recommendations, you can't get to 100%. One day, I was at 100%, and I dropped it to 85%. What's this about? I spend a lot of time in LinkedIn. I've been in LinkedIn. I'm one of the first 500,000 members. I think my membership number is like 326,000. I've been teaching this since 2005. As a recruiter, a headhunter, this is where I lived. This is where I found people. And then take the computer programming background and the networking game. This is naturally me. I would not worry about completeness. If you can get up to 80, 85%, you're doing well. Probably add recommendations, add more detail in your jobs. That's the most productive, and make it keyword rich. I want you, as you write this, to think like a recruiter. Think like that hiring manager. What are they looking for? What do I have to tell them? What would I be looking for in the profile? Think like a recruiter, because a recruiter or a hiring manager is going to be paying attention to what your profile is. What matters? Well, your name. You have an option to be private. You have an option to be fictitious. I could be Jennifer if I wanted to. You can use just a last initial. Don't be hard to find. Be easy to find. I will tell you that with all my connections, I've gotten one piece of spam since 2004. That was from LinkedIn. They were doing too much marketing. I noticed it and I said, what's this? It's not going to bode well. They haven't done it again. Capital One is not trying to get me a credit card. No one's trying to refinance my home or sell me a car. Doesn't happen. Don't worry, really, don't worry about your privacy. It's more important to be employed. Don't change your approach, by the way, once you're back to work, because everybody's in play and no job is secure. You got to have a photo. There's a lot of people I'm connected to on LinkedIn that I met at events like this, and I can remember faces and names, but I have to be able to put them together. Make it easy. Make that photo something that is a portrait that is recent. Important. I'll go into a little more details. You should have a headline. We'll talk about the headline a little bit. That's the descriptor. And summary and specialties. So let's take a look at a profile. And we're taking the Career Sherpa's profile. If you don't know Hannah Morgan, she's a great person. She's done a lot of work. Career Navigator is her program that Rochester Works offers. I'm just going to start from the top. These are some of the overlooked things that I'm just highlighting here. All right. Notice that she's put her maiden name in there. People that she met in high school, college, lost track with over the years, they don't know that her as Hannah Morgan. They know her as Hannah Price. They can find her. So if you have multiple surnames, make sure they're all there. Okay? Job search strategist, reputation management, and social media guide, all that. That is the headline. That occurs in every search result. That's a selling line. It's not a job title, financial analyst at ABC Company. They'll find that in your experience. That's a marketing line. Okay? So that's a headline that's key. Whenever they search people and they find your profile, they're going to read the headline. So make it count. That's, again, a part of expressing your personalities in that line. The third part I highlight there is a status update. This is not just your resume. Resume is a tombstone. It's written once and done. This is a dynamic online document. What you're doing today, and hopefully you are all doing something today that is going to help you get a job. You report it here in the status updates. No reason not to do something significant Monday through Friday that's worth reporting to all the people you're connected to. It shouldn't be the same thing. I'm looking for a job. I'm looking for a job. That doesn't play well. That says you're needy. What it should include is stuff that you're reading, that's in your industry, that's in your field, that a hiring manager, when they sees it, says, I'm going to pay attention to this person. They post something interesting every day. I use them as my news reading service. I don't have to read all the magazines because they are my trade journal specialists. Do that, you will catch a hiring manager's attention. Does that make sense? Update your status every day. It tells you you can do things with your status. You can like somebody's status. You can comment on it. You can send a message directly to the person. You can look at all of her activity. It's also time-stamped. That was 42 minutes. So I should see that everybody we should always have 1 day for you, typically. If I look at your profile, I know you're active because it's within 1 day. Maybe not on the weekends. It should always be professionally oriented, too. Recommendations. You've got to have recommendations. Absolutely have to have them. Got to have connections, not going to... Websites. Have a Google profile and put that up. That's another way to represent yourself. Visual CV, something that's gone, can't reference that anymore. But if you have a website, put that up there. And everybody should probably own their own website with your name if you can do it. It's going to be a part of the branding going forward. Twitter presence. Your Twitter ID should be there. And you should really be beginning to engage in Twitter. I got to say, I'm not there, but I will tell you that I know that I'm remiss in not being there. This is how you start to reach out and build your national network. Hannah has spoken across the country now because of her Twitter population and friends. It's how to reach people out of town in your field. Your public profile, what you want to share, you can have a vanity profile and put your name in it, as she's done. Mine is Sir Linked a lot. It always is. It's linkedin.com/in, and then whatever you wish it to be. You cannot change it back. If she got rid of Hannah Morgan and put in Career Sherpa, she could not ever go back to being Hannah Morgan if she rebranded herself and went to something other than Career Sherpa. So you can't go back to reclaim something. Oh, did I miss something? I didn't mention something off to the... Oh, okay. Here's more of her activity. I can't mention all that right now because we're going to try to fly through all this real quickly. Second page, summary is very important. That's your elevator speech. Keyword rich. Make it keyword rich and let your personality come through. I think you've got like 2,000 characters to tell the story there. It'll just stop taking characters once you have filled it. Specialties. Specialties is a great place to put keywords. It's one of the first places they look. Job title is the first place they look for keywords. So pepper your job titles, specialties, and summary with keywords. You get better search results for that. Why did I do this? I just, okay. You want to build paragraphs that talk about performance. Just real quick on that. More is better. Again, I said comprehensive in the beginning. More is better. Make it a lengthy profile. She's got recommendations. Recommendations are always contextualized. So these people recommended her in the position that she was in at the Sutherland Group. Okay, that's how they know her. There's a skills portion. How many people who are in LinkedIn have the skills portion? Excellent. What LinkedIn did is they looked at all these profiles and said, we should build a skills database. And you can put your skills in. When did you last use them? Are you beginner, intermediate, or expert in a field? So you want to be rich in your skills list. Your groups, you want to make sure that you belong to groups. I'll talk about those in a little bit. You can put personal information in there. All right, your personal information. Put in a phone number. Be easy to reach for a recruiter, someone that wants to hire you. I will tell you, I'm connected to millions of people. Nobody's called me. Doesn't happen. Doesn't happen. When you start getting calls, then you change it. Okay? I'm telling you, it's not going to happen. Doesn't happen. I've never had anybody, in 7 years of teaching this, I've never had anybody complain about privacy issues. Never. It's much different than Facebook. Contact settings. Nobody uses this. It's at the bottom of the profile. You put your protocol as to how you like to be contacted. I only connect with people that I've met. I prefer to have a conversation with people. You identify how you want somebody who finds your profile to connect with you. Give them some personal instructions. Make it easy for them. You might say, I like to be called around the noon hour. Whatever. I'm not in the office on Mondays and Fridays. Make it easy for people. That's where you give them your instructions. What's overlooked? Skills. Most profiles don't have skills. You should use that. Most people don't update their status. I'm telling you, Monday through Friday, pop something up there, share an article, use the news feature. Websites. Most people don't have websites identified. You're given 3. Recommendations. Most people don't have enough. You can only get recommendations from people who are on LinkedIn who you are connected to. Contact settings, I just mentioned, right down at the bottom. Okay? Those are frequently overlooked areas within LinkedIn. So far, anybody learned anything? I'm going to test my audience. Anybody learned anything? What are you going to share? Yes?
I learned that the profile needs to be complete and updated every day frequently.
Okay, and by status updates. And I will tell you, and updating it regularly tells your network that you've made a change to your profile. If you're going through overalls, it doesn't. If you make an update and then hit send, make another update and hit send, it doesn't go into your network and tell them another one. It doesn't update within the day. It says, okay, updated the profile. You can update it 8 more times that day. It doesn't go out 7 more times. Just once a day it's mentioned. Okay? But it helps keep you top of mind. What else? What else somebody learn?
Picture.
Have a picture.
Yeah.
Keywords. Anybody else learn anything? Job skills. You can always dial it back. Okay? There are settings, and I'll talk about those very briefly. Yes?
What I thought was interesting is when you said the recommendations, because you might have a lot on your resume, but you said they have to be linked to linkage.
Yeah. They have to be in LinkedIn. So the person writing the recommendation has to be another member. Okay? And that gives everything context. Okay. Anybody else? Any questions? Yes? 3. You can have. There are 3 links for websites. Yeah. Yes. At the bottom of every page, there is access to the help center, And in the upper right-hand corner, there's a drop-down link. I do not know. Honest answer. Don't know that. Yes? You request them. And you shouldn't be bashful. Yes? Anybody who is in your network, you get to see their profile. You can also dial that down and make it very private. I'm telling you, you want to be as public as possible because you don't know if the recruiter who's going to hire you in Rochester is in Kansas City or in Korea. So you want to be really open. Again, my philosophy, and it's just mine, and mine isn't right for everybody, but if you want to get to work faster, you are open, 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 and you will not see a violation of your privacy. You can always contact me. I make it easy to contact me. If you can remember the name Greg Taylor, you can look up Sir Link-A-Lot using a search in LinkedIn. You'll find me, and you'll find down in the bottom, there's my phone number. Okay, so I always take a phone call. Headshot. I don't know that people are going to know the difference in formal. I just make a good, attractive headshot can be taken with your smartphone. Yeah, yeah. It should be really kind of headshot. So get it cropped to a headshot. The one guy I saw, wonderful, head to toe. All right, him and his fishing pole and his fish, plaid shirt. If he's looking for a tackle shop, he's there. Another guy on his red Kawasaki wearing his helmet. Now, so the next time I'm going to recognize him, he better be coming in on his cycle on his helmet, wearing his helmet. Otherwise, I don't know the guy. Your network. This is what makes LinkedIn valuable and distinguish it from everything else. I want you to now think of, I told you about the profile. I want you to think of the archer's target, the bullseye. The profile is the bullseye. Your network hums around you, the sweet spot, the bullseye of that target. That's the who you are, what you know, and where you belong. Now there's those concentric circles. The first circle around the bullseye are all those people who are connections. The LinkedIn term, Facebook has friends, LinkedIn has connections. So that first circle are all of those people that you've processed an invitation with. Either you've sent it or I've sent it and we've agreed to connect. Okay? That makes a connection. That's level 1. You'll see profiles with numbers next to them. So your connections level 1. Your connections are level 2. So George and I are connected. We processed an invitation. So we're level 1. Pam knows George. I don't know Pam, but they're connected. George is level 1, she's level 2, right? Pam knows Michael, but I don't know Michael. George doesn't know Michael. So what's Michael? Level 3. Okay? You get 3 levels of connections. This is the power of LinkedIn. I like to connect with people that I've met, people that I know. I have 1,800 some connections. A recruiter should have many. I have some strategic connections, which are people when I was in the recruiting business, it was good to know who I never met. That's part of my own model. So I have 1,800 connections. Anybody have an idea what that makes for my second level? I have, in other words, I have 1,800 networks. Right? Because I get those 1,800 Rolodexes. That make sense to everybody? Everybody with me? What's my second level number? This is your network. This is a page in LinkedIn. You get it from the Contacts tab, if you can see the very top. Drop-down window in Contacts is Network Statistics. That's this page. 1,848 connections. That's first level. 2 degrees away. 461,000 people. So all my Georges have the potential to introduce me to 461,000 people. Do you think I could find a job? Don't you think somebody out of those 461? I will tell you that that's the key number. It's the second. You are not going to get a job from a friend. You're going to get a job from somebody who knows somebody. The reason to connect with first-level people who are even casual is because they give you a second-level number. Does that make sense? Yeah. So you don't have to be real discriminating here. I only want to connect with people I can recommend. Okay, that means I don't need to go to work real quickly. Not important to me. I'm going to wait it out till the job comes to my door. So 461,000. This requires an introduction. So for me to meet Pam, I need George's help. I write a note to George, say, George, I have found Pam, and I know that you are connected to Pam. Could you make an introduction? That's the way it happens. It doesn't happen without his permission. He can ignore me. He can say no. He can say, I don't really know Pam. I met her at a job fair once. I'll pass it on, but no promises. If it's the third level and I want to get to Michael, how many people's help do I need? 2. Twice as hard. George has to remember me. That's why it's important to have a photo. And then George has to remember Pam. Pam has to remember George. Pam has to remember Mike to find out if it's all going to work. Much harder to get third-level connections. Used to be they gave you third-level last names. They took that away. LinkedIn is starting to take information away in their free programs. But anyways, at this third level now, I now know 10 million people. Overall, I'm connected to 11 million people. This is larger than this. I haven't updated this. This is probably about 145 million now. Half of it in the U.S. Lower page of this, it tells you pictures of your network. Of these 11 million people, 7% of them are in New York City for me. 4% of my network comes from Rochester. I'm connected to 55. If I click this link, Rochester, New York, it tells me I'm connected to 55,000 people in Rochester. Rochester has about 400,000, 450,000 jobs. The people that flip burgers, the people, I mean, there's people, cleaning rooms and offices and all that stuff. They're probably not all on LinkedIn. But I'm in touch with probably a good number of the professionals I can get access to in Rochester. It gives me a breakdown in industry access. I got to go faster. I'm too slow. I'm feeding you with a fire hose. It's the way I teach. There's not enough time. There's never enough time. We're going to just go as fast as we can, and you're going to soak up what you soak up. This gives me the picture of my Rochester connections. It shows some search results. It shows me the 55,000 number, etc. Again, this is available to you if you send me an email. Strategies for growing your network. This is important. I mean, you're not, so far, I'm trying to help you get jobs, right? Well, I'm talking about a profile that made sense. I'm talking about the network thing. Well, how is this going to get me a job? Well, I told you, it's someone who knows someone that's going to help you. You have to grow your network. LinkedIn does not work unless you work it. It's your job to connect with people you know. If you don't, shame on you. It just makes it slow. I will tell you, you all know 200 people. You don't have to know them well. You don't have to be able to recommend them for the job. You don't have to know anything about their talents. You have to have a first impression of them. I connect with people I would never hire if they send me an invitation. I don't invite people I would never hire, but I accept invitations from people I would never hire. The reason I do that is I had a reputation as a recruiter. People saw that I knew a candidate they were interviewing. And they said, hey, Greg, we want to get a reference check on you. You know so-and-so. Interviewed Chris. Great person. Hit it off with everybody. Real popular with her staff. Thinks she's going to be a great fit. Huh? Yeah. Yeah. Everybody loved Chris because Chris organized the softball team and the volleyball team and the Christmas party and the summer picnic. Also organized the Friday pizza and wings thing that we did at lunch. Everybody loved Chris. The rest of the story was Chris was always the last person in on Monday morning, took the longest lunch hours, never hit a deadline, couldn't do the job. Very hard to get rid of a person like Chris, who's very popular. So what you do? Cross-training. Hey, we're going to do some cross-training, and you're going to do Chris's job because Chris can't do it. So I would help employers make more informed decisions by encouraging them to talk to people that I knew that worked with Chris to find out what the performance was really like. So if I can help somebody not make a bad hiring choice, I wanted to be able to do that because I did know the person. So you can create value for people in your network. And you know what? That person I didn't want to really connect with, that person I wouldn't recommend, they might know somebody that's important to me. Helps me identify people. Some people want to be very discriminating, very private, very small networks. Those are the people that can afford a longer job search. I'm telling you, you can all get to 200 people that you know, that you have a first impression of, that you've met. Other people at the other end of the spectrum are very open. No, don't have to meet you. Matter of fact, there's a group in LinkedIn called Lions. Lion is a LinkedIn open networker. They do two things. They accept invitations from anyone, and they agree that if you ask them for an introduction, they will forward it. They believe that it's their responsibility to help people find the people they want. They're kind. They're generous. They want to facilitate and connect as many people as they want. Greg Taylor, on a scale of 1 to 5, the open networkers being 5s, Greg Taylor's closer to a 4 because I am discriminating. I don't accept everybody's. I'm doing a test right now, by the way. I took the last 20 strangers who sent me an invitation to connect in LinkedIn, people I don't know. And they sent me an impersonalized invitation. I'd like to add you to my network. Why? Who are you? How'd you get my address? Well, they probably looked at my profile, saw the numbers, I'll connect with this guy. Good for me. So I just did this. It was part of my New Year's resolution. Sent out 20 people. Said, I like to connect to people I meet. So this Friday, I will be at the Panera Bread at 7:30 or 9:30. Would you like to come and have a conversation to discern how we could help each other network more effectively? Gave them all the opportunity for face-to-face. How many people have responded? I have had 5 email responses. One person has moved to Boston. My bad. I tried to discern all those 20 to make sure they were still local. But he responded. A guy who moved to Boston got this message from me and took the time to say, I can't do it. Thank you very much. I left 4 years ago. That's good networking on his part. I would remember him, and I did connect to him because he responded to me. Being responsive is a part of your obligation when you're in a network. Another guy is gone for the month. He's already in Latin America where he does Latin American sales. So those 2 people that couldn't make it responded to me. One person has agreed to meet me because her husband is in my network. And he says, you better connect with Greg Taylor. Send him an invitation. And she said, I would be glad to meet you. So 1 out of 20 has responded to the, and 5 have responded. 1 has said, I'm going to meet you. Another one's a nurse who I used to teach in grammar school. She's nursing. She can't do that day. Okay, so real quickly, you want to use groups and answers because you will meet people in LinkedIn who are not in your natural network. You will participate in groups that are relevant to your industry and your search. Marketing people go into marketing groups, and they meet marketing people who know people across the states. We all do. All right? And answers, you participate in forums of interest where you ask questions and answer questions. Most people don't use either one of these effectively. You will update your status. I keep banging that drum. If there's any one thing you could do most effectively, it's start to share articles, update a status, ask a question. Keep it always professional. Another thing to do is to review your account settings. I'll talk about that in a moment. Those are all a part of strategies. Guidelines for growing your network. Personalize your invitation. If you just find somebody and hit connect, it sends a blind invitation that says, I'd like to add you to my network. You can only do that with your brothers, sisters, in-laws, neighbors, best friends. Everybody else gets, hey, I met you at this event. would love to get together for a cup of coffee to discuss more, or something that personalizes why we're going to connect. What's in it for both of us? Neat thing about groups, you have to know the email address of people you are connecting to, unless you went to school with them, you worked with them, you've got a business relationship with them, like a vendor relationship. I sold to you, you bought from me kind of thing. Friends is a gold key. You can use that. But you're only allowed so many invitations of any one type. So in groups, you could have absolute strangers, but you can message them. People that share a group with you, you can go into the member's profile, the member directory, find someone of interest, going, this person could help me get an interview at L3 Communications, Level 3 Communications. This would be pretty cool. I want to talk to people there. So you go to the member directory, you drop down, you send a message, you say, hey, I would love to talk to you about. So you can connect to people via groups. It's the only place in LinkedIn where you can message people, because they want to limit spam. So they assume if you're in a common group, you have reasons to talk to each other. So be professional about it. So groups are very, very key. When you get an invitation from a stranger, you can accept it, you can reject it, but you can also reply to it. Start the conversation. That's what I did with 20 people. At least open up a dialogue. You never know. My criteria, when I get an invitation from somebody, is would I be willing to introduce that person? I might meet you today. You might come up at the end of this class and say, I'd like to ask you another question. Blah. Can I have your card? Whatever it is. If you send me an invitation, say, I spoke to you at the end of class yesterday, we talked about this, I would accept that invitation if you gave me a favorable impression, and I thought, I would introduce this person to someone else. It could be someone in Wegmans. Anybody ever been in the line, the 7 or less items, and there's that person with a full cart? Wegmans can't turn those people away, but you're sitting there toe-tapping. And you now befriend the person in front of you or behind you. And you find out that you've got something going, a reason to help people. You might make an introduction for that person, right? Just out of kindness. It's somebody new to town. They need a connection. We would help people. So if my thing is, would I be willing to introduce this person? Introduce. Does that recommend? No. You frame the introduction. Hey, I met this person in Wegmans. Seemed like a nice person. They're trying to make some connections. That's how I'm framing it. Beware of IDK. I don't know. Don't invite people you don't know. 2 rules on that. The way LinkedIn works this. When you send invitations to people and they don't know you, they can respond, I don't know them. The 5th I don't know, your classmates, your former work associates, your friends, group members, everybody that you want to connect to requires that you know their email address. So it severely limits your ability to connect with people. So don't be capricious. Don't spam people, because it's the 5th one that gets you in trouble. You can't send an invitation to the same person twice. Kind of a humorous story. I learned this real quickly. But I don't have time to tell the story. Oh well. We don't have time to review. Anybody got one? I'll take one question. Yeah. Yeah. Everything I talk to is free. I was a subscriber for the last year. Didn't really use it much. Hardly used it, so I did not renew it. I told them that. I would tell you their customer service is terrible. They didn't ask me why I didn't want to renew. I had no interest. Their response was very poor, by the way, overall through the year. Search. Great search tool. You can find jobs. You can find companies. You can find groups. You can find people. Here's an example of the multiple databases. There's the jobs, people. These are all the databases that drop down. I do most of my searches from this window. I pick a database and I put words in. When you choose the people database, if you put in the name John Smith, it is looking for profiles that have the words John and the words Smith in them, not first name John. It doesn't know you're using fields. It's just looking for words, just FYI. So if somebody is on LinkedIn as Anthony and you're looking up Tony, probably not going to find it unless they use the word Tony in their profile. Anyways, here's the quick search box. Search strategies. You're going to search, you can search the jobs tab. We're going to show you that next. We can search for companies, and you can follow companies and find out what's happening with those companies. Within groups, there's a job tab. There's a function called Company Buzz, which identifies Twitter tweets with words that might be Rochester jobs. You can go use LinkedIn for that. Very few people know about that. The homepage has status updates where jobs are posted. So these are all areas within LinkedIn that you can use for job strategies. Yes?
When you look up a company, let's say it's got 10,000 employees, 5,000.
Let me go through and we'll see if we get there. Because I got like 8 minutes left. Okay, here's the jobs function going very up to the top. There's a drop-down window there. Search jobs. There's also an advanced search for jobs. I'm going to take you to that in a moment. This is a list of jobs that it's kind of pulled based on my profile. They think I might be interested in these jobs. I just highlighted up here where there's the jobs database that I'm in. I've circled that. I put in keywords. It's a little better representation than the last screen. Here is the advanced job search. Okay, so notice up at the very top, there's the home page. You can save searches. You can save jobs and then advanced search. Keywords, you can search by job title. These are all fields. I think this is fairly self-explanatory. This is pretty cool. How many people are using this? Oh, so this should have a lot of takeaway value for you. Drop down on the jobs. Start doing your searches. Great place to start doing all that keyword search. You don't care about where the jobs are coming from. Right here down the bottom, I wanted to point out, you can sort the search results by relevance, by relationship. So maybe you want to find all the jobs that you have people you were connected to. You would search it by relationship. You could search it by the date posted, most recent, or the earliest, the oldest jobs. Okay, this is a job search. And this was a job search for jobs 50 miles within the 14618. That's all I wanted. That's it. It came up with only 106 jobs. Is that handy? Anybody be able to use something like that? 106 jobs, would that be enough for you to browse through? All right. And also, so on this one, it highlights, well, hey, Greg, here's this L3 Global Communications job. Here's people that you know. There's another 20. Pick the person you want to introduce you to the job. Is anybody trying to do this in real world without using LinkedIn? How easy is this to do without LinkedIn? Is this a valuable tool? Or is this one network to avoid because it's one more network and kind of, privacy issues? I'd rather work the hard way. I'd rather get lucky. Oh, right down here at the bottom, it starts to identify which companies have the most jobs. Baldwin Richardson has 9 jobs. Just FYI, if you might want to work for them. Going from jobs now to searching companies. It's a different database in the upper right-hand corner. I'm searching for companies. I can search by job opportunities, industries, relationship, multiple opportunities to refine my search over here to the left. I can sort my results again. Here's a job. I just highlighted the Oracle job. This Oracle job, I can get connected through these people. There's another 1,600 people if I wish to use that to get inside of Oracle as a company. If Oracle's a target company, I've only got 1,600 people. They've only got 208 jobs. Would that be handy if you were looking for companies? Okay. Maybe you'd want to select which types of industry you are in. Maybe you'd want to search the job and look for job titles. Yes? Yes. Yeah. These are all, this is a first level connection. These are second levels. I just know on my own network. I can get it to sort. You could learn to do that. Now I've moved from groups. So we've done jobs. We did companies very quickly. Now I'm looking at groups. And what I've done is, here are all the different categories of groups. And I went into, and I searched all the groups for the word jobs. And it brought me back 19,000 groups that have the word jobs in them. Okay? And notice that this first one, jobs, has only 627,000 members. You could start to connect to people, send messages to those 627,000 people to find out who wants to connect with you if they're in your industry. You got to be discreet, got to be discretionary. You could join the group, and you can look at similar groups. It's a great tool. Here's the recruiter network. So now I've gone into one of my groups, and I've selected, see up top here, the black jobs tab? I'm looking at the jobs tab in the recruiter network jobs. And it reports 877 jobs. Within the job, it tells me how many connections can refer me. 3 people have shared this job with others. You can share jobs to help other people with their search. It's a way to build social capital. You could save the job or share the job. You can search in the U.S. Initially, this will come up with all locations. You can search just Rochester down here if you wanted to as well. But that is that's refining the search results within a group. This is out of sequence. Oh, no, this is the home page. I'm sorry. This is the home page. Now you can search for jobs on the home page. I'm on the home page now. And these are all the status updates on your home page. Well, I've said, wait a minute, I don't want to look at all the stuff there. I dropped down and I chose jobs. I could choose shares. I could change to profiles. I could say, you know what? One of my target companies is Excellus Blue Cross Blue Shield. So I want to look and see what's happening to the companies in my network. And if I selected companies, it would tell me about all the company updates. Who got hired into a company, who left the company, those types of things. What happened in my network? Not enough time. Let's review. There, good, we did it. Sorry, what time is it, 2:59? You can share a lot of things within LinkedIn. You can share, and your sharing capabilities is determined by your settings. You can share your expertise. You can share news and you can share contacts. Real quickly, it's going to be really fast. Settings, okay. Upper right-hand corner where you log out, that's where the settings are. That's where you personalize your account. You can personalize your profile settings, your email settings, your group, and your account settings. Change these and the controls change here. I'm going to tell you that in the profile, you must set all of these. I don't have time to give you more detail on that. Go to the next one. You should set these two. This is available to you if you send me an email. If you go to this one, you should set these two. If you go to the last one, you should set those two. Boom, real important. Expertise, you can share your expertise through your profile. Your blog can get embedded into your profile. Your tweets and updates get identified in your profile. Your profile recommendations through group answers. These are all ways that you can share your expertise. Sorry, we don't have, there, that finished me. Boom, that's as quick as far as I can go. It's 3:01. I think what I need to do is allow everybody to leave who wishes to leave. If you want to leave a card for me, you could put it on the corner of the table here, and I can stay for a couple minutes if the room allows us to answer questions. My email address is greg@sirlinkedalot.com. SIR, linked, as in LinkedIn, LINKED, ALOT. All one character string. sirlinkedalot.com. Greg, G-R-E-G. You can do a search on Sir Linked a Lot, and you can find me in LinkedIn. So I will excuse those who have a hard stop at 3, and I will stay to answer questions. Daryl?
My name is Ron Augustine. I have one question.
Yeah.
Because I do have to